Distinguished participants, colleagues, I want to thank of the opportunity to share a few words with you here today. I traveled here yesterday from a village of Njurkan, which lies at the banks of the great river Tätno, which used to be the largest Atlantic salmon river in Europe. Around mid-May, the whole village used to smell of tar because people were applying tar on their wooden boats in preparation for the summer's fishing season. We don't smell that tar anymore, as most of the boats will stay on the ground for the summer. Now for the fourth summer in a row, the whole salmon fishery will be closed due to decline of stocks. The river Saami culture, where I also belong to, is founded on salmon as the most valuable fish. So you can imagine that such closure hits our communities very hard. The Arctic definitely is at the crossroads, both ecologically and politically. The climate crisis is altering the very fabrics of our ecosystems. Russia's aggression on Ukraine, Finland and Sweden joining NATO, these have a huge implications on Arctic geopolitically. We remain committed to the Arctic staying as a region of peace. In my home, the keystone species of Atlantic salmon is now replaced by introduced humpback salmon, which is outnumbering the native species. And while the local Saami have learned to use this new species as a resource, Norway has designated it as harmful species that must be eradicated. It surely is harmful for the multi-billion euro salmon farming industry if there is wild salmon available which is healthier and cheaper than their product that is harmful both for the environment and for the people. The Saami are cross-border people, and the Saami homelands stretch from the river to the sea. Saami have been fishing in the river and by the coastline for millennia, yet our knowledge is mainly anecdotal when it comes to governance of fishing. The reason we join arenas like this is to highlight, among other things, that governance without due regard to indigenous knowledge is often in conflict with local interests and well-being. Knowledge definitely is power. Who gets to define what is harmful species can decide what is viewed as a nuisance instead of a resource. We just had a session here where we described the need to decolonize knowledge production. The colonial power asymmetry still impacts science and leads to marginalization of indigenous ways of knowing, and as a result, ignoring interests of our communities. Overcoming the colonial mindset is a global burden, and Europe also has still a long ways to go for leaving that colonial legacy behind. And while we are on the topic of decolonization, I must point out the elephant in the room. The policies that Germany and Berlin have adopted recently to silence the opposition to the most cruel manifestations of settler colonial violence are regressive and endanger the functioning of our democratic societies and rules-based global order. Fundamental rights, such as the right of all peoples to self-determination and the rights to their territories and resources, must guide our actions in the Arctic and around the globe. They cannot be wiped out with religious pretexts. I think at these volatile times, global cooperation is as vital as ever. While the Arctic ecosystems are crumbling, we cannot afford undermining the very fundamental principles that lay the foundation of peaceful coexistence. Europe has a key role to play in strengthening the trust and respect to the commonly agreed principles of international law. And this is of utmost importance to the safety and stability of the Arctic and beyond. Thank you very much. Kiitos.